And you know what, guys? I twerked at church. Hey guys, my name is Sierra. I am a pre-nursing student, police abolitionist, and mother of 2. My mother immigrated to Chicago from Belize when she was 9 years old, and my dad, who is Latino, was born and raised in the north side of Chicago. My parents met when they were 16, got married when they were 18, and after a son, a daughter, and before the 4th daughter, they had me. 5 years after I was born, we moved from Chicago to Florida, then from Florida to Oahu, then from Oahu to the Big Island, and then from the Big Island to Orange County, California. So, my experience as a Mexican and Belizean girl growing up in southern Orange County can be characterized by the following array of very interesting, very true, and some a little bit disturbing stories ahead. So if you're interested in getting a little taste of what it feels like to be a medium dark skin girl who lives in very white, very conservative southern Orange County from 7th grade to graduation of high school, then keep watching. Ever since the murder of George Floyd sparked this national, almost global uprising against police brutality and white supremacy, before I post anything, I think to myself, how is this going to help? Is this a call to action? Is this educating someone? What is this for? I think it's my duty, as I think it's every single person on this planet's duty right now, especially in this country, to make sure that you're intentional with every single thing that you do to advocate and educate and organize and agitate. I feel like everything that we do right now should be geared towards dismantling the police and dismantling white supremacy. I realized that I don't come across a lot of content about internalized racism. Right now, I see a lot of power to the people, proud to be black stuff, which is so amazing. But I also think it's important to talk about that journey, the journey to being proud of being black, being proud of who I am and loving myself. And I hope that some people will relate to this. There's my little preface to this. I just wanted to make sure that what I'm putting out there is intentional, and I really hope this can help anyone who works with children, especially in white communities, to just be more aware of the black and brown children that you are teaching, because they are not having the same experience that your white students are.
Legal.
I absolutely love California, but let me tell you something. Being any type of brown person growing up in Southern California is not easy, especially in the very conservative Orange County. There were a few stories that have been weighing on my heart for the last few weeks, and seeing a lot of the people from my old high school posting about Black Lives Matter on Facebook and Instagram, it has brought up a lot of memories of a lot of those specific people and just people from my high school in general. And I'm just like, really? You really believe that? Because I remember a lot of stuff from high school, and spending the second half of my childhood in Orange County had a big impact on how I viewed myself, my skin, my hair, just everything about me. I absolutely hated myself when I was in middle school and high school. I hated my skin, I hated my hair, I just hated everything about myself. I don't think it's necessarily because anybody told me that. It was kind of just this thing called internalized racism. One of the most common thoughts that I had in my head when I was living in Orange County was, if I was just white, then I would be pretty. If I was just a few shades lighter, then I would be pretty. If I was white and had straight hair, then I would be more popular and I would just be all around more happy and just live a better life if I was white. I did not want to be black. I wanted to distance myself from the identity of being black so hard when I was living in Orange County. One of the most common things that I said in middle school and high school was,
I'm not black, I'm Belizean.
it was always someone would be like, oh, you're black. And I'd be like,
No, I'm not black, I'm Belizean.
knowing that Belizeans identify as black, knowing that my mom identified as black and my whole entire family who's Belizean identifies as black. If you don't know, Belize is a country in Central America right next to Honduras and Guatemala. Also, even though I didn't want to be black, I know no matter how many times I told people that I wasn't black, I was still going to be seen as black. I remember literally getting into a fight with this kid freshman year of high school, and he was like, oh, you're black. I don't remember how this conversation came along, but I remember he was like, something, something, you're black. And I was like,
No, I'm not, I'm Belizean.
and he was like, there's no way you're not black. And I was like,
I'm not, you stupid boy.
I just remember like cussing him out and just being so defensive, and I was just like, I'm not black, I'm not black. And thinking back on that today, as a woman who is just so proud of her blackness, it's obvious to me now that that was just internalized racism. I just absolutely hated being black, and I didn't want to be seen as black, especially in Orange County. I saw how my friends talked about black people, I saw how the media talked about black people, and I just did not want to be that. But yeah, no matter how hard I tried to tell people I wasn't black, they did not believe me. It's interesting to think about how sometimes even when people would call me black in front of my friends would be like, she's not black, she's Belizean. And then the people who would call me black would be like, oh, okay. Well, now I can be racist in front of her and like she's not gonna say anything, right? Like that's definitely how it felt. My time in Orange County could definitely be characterized by everyone, not just white people, every single person around me using the N-word, even my friends, me letting them use the N-word, not having really any black friends, being like one of the very few black people in my school or in my church or any kind of extracurricular activity I wanted to be a part of. I was always seen as the black friend. I remember my name in acquaintances or friends' phones being Sierra the Black One. Literally. I just remember walking throughout the school and people saying the N-word and then looking at me and like just laughing like hee 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 hee, and me just being like trying to pretend I didn't hear them or just give them a dirty look and not saying anything. Yeah, that was pretty much a daily occurrence. There was never a day or a moment that I could ever forget who I was, that I could ever forget that I had brown skin, that I didn't look like my friends or the people around me. Some of the people that I considered my best friends were even spewing these microaggressions on me pretty much on a daily basis. Someone that I considered a best friend, I remember once sent a picture of me to her friend on Snapchat and captioned it, my black friend. And that same person laughed when her friend sent back a picture of her with a jar of Nutella that said my black friend, and she showed that to me and she's like, ha 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 ha. One of my other friends, who was one of my best friends, literally carried around a Confederate flag in her purse. And that was not uncommon in Orange County, California. And that same person is a Trump supporter to this day, and no, I am not that person's friend. Anyway, I was a part of a lot of plays and shows and blah 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 freshman year of high school, and for those plays we had to wear costumes, wigs, makeup, right? Right. Having to wear a short black curly wig for a school production and having my white teacher say that I look like Rosa Parks and having to stand there and pretend that I thought it was funny while she and all the other kids laughed at me. Oh my gosh, or the amount of times I had conversations with my white friends about,
oh my god, if I ever brought home a black guy, my dad would kill me and he would kill him too.
And me being like, am I not your friend? Like, what? Stories like that were so common in high school in Orange County. People did not see anything wrong with that. One of my best friends would tell me that she didn't find any black men attractive, that just period black men weren't attractive. I remember like going home and like just looking up all the black celebrities and being like, you don't think he's hot? You don't think he's hot? And she was like,
no, I just don't think black people are attractive.
And I was like, cool. Anytime that I met friends' parents, I was always so scared that they would be racist. A lot of the times I had to be like,
hey, are your parents racist?
And a lot of the times the answer wasn't no. The racism that is just so rampant in Orange County is sometimes very in your face, but a lot of the times it's very like down below. This is one story that I've been not sure if I should tell for a long time, but I'm gonna tell it anyway because why not? I used to be pretty involved in my local Catholic church. I was very much a part of the church youth group scene in high school. And one time I was at like one of those overnight church thingies where you like stayed the whole night and played games and stuff and learned about God and Jesus or whatever. I remember just hanging out, chilling, doing my thing, learning about God, loving God. And two of the leaders that I was pretty close to, that I really actually looked up to, came up to me and like pulled me aside and they were like,
Sierra, can you twerk?
And I was like, no. I was literally the last person in that entire room that could twerk. I literally looked like this in high school. My body literally just can't move that way. I literally cannot twerk. And you know what, guys? I twerked at church. Yeah, I twerked at church because the older upperclassmen, teen leaders, forced me to twerk for them because for some reason they thought out of every single person that was there, I would be the one to teach them / know how to twerk. Obviously, they literally only asked me because I was the only black person in the room. That's just something that's stuck in my head for so long. Like, I can't believe that happened. Anyway. Oh yeah, and I remember calling one of those same leaders who pressured me to twerk in front of her at church. I remember calling her one time because I started to really understand how much I hated being brown and just how brown people were treated differently than white people in Orange County, and I remember that was really getting to me. And I trusted this leader a lot, and I just remember calling her and just like telling her that I was sad. Basically, I don't remember exactly, but it was along the lines of, I'm sad because of racism. I'm sad because I live in a racist town and I'm black. And verbatim, she said, "Are you sure you're not just imagining it?" And I remember being like, no, I'm not imagining it. I think at that moment, a seed planted into my head that a lot of the people that I looked up to were not the people that I should have been looking up to. Granted, these kids were still young. Like, I was probably 13, 14, 15, and they were like 17, 16, 18. So like, it's not like they were adults. Not to say that like it was okay, but just to show that that is the kind of thinking that a lot of the kids are taught in Orange County. And I just wanted to be like liked so bad. I wanted attention so bad. I wanted to be a part of the in crowd so bad. I would just let anyone and everyone say whatever they wanted because I was the cool girl, right? I was the cool brown girl. You could say the N-word in front of me. That's fine. I'm cool. I don't care. No. Oh my gosh. One of the worst experiences that I had. Oh my gosh. I think it was senior year of high school. I was a part of the Marine Club, I guess, and I remember going on this camping trip to Big Sur and Monterey with the Marine Ecology group or whatever, and it was one of the most beautiful trips I'd ever taken, but it was ruined for me. The first night that I went, this kid who was like the big funny guy, popular guy at the retreat, all the supervisors loved, all the kids there loved because he was so funny and so fun. That first night that we got there, wherever we stopped in like Monterey or Big Sur, he came up to me and he was like,
Obama is
he literally said to my face, I'd never met this guy or talked to him before, and he was like, Obama is an N-word. Hard R. Nobody said anything. And I remember that like hit me so hard in my chest. Not necessarily that he said it, but that nobody around me said anything. None of the teachers said anything. I was gonna have to be on this trip for like a week, I think, with these people. And I remember that night I had texted my parents and I told them what happened, and I was like, I really want to come home. And that whole trip was just like all the white kids making racist jokes, like outwardly racist jokes. The whole time it was like,
oh, you want to ride on your big green tractor? Like, immigration joke, Mexican joke.
It was just filled with racist jokes, and the teachers would laugh every time. I remember one of the supervisors, one of the adults that was supposed to be like looking over us, made a speech and was like,
look around you, look how beautiful it is, look at these beaches, look how...
The whole point of the trip was to talk about like marine life and just nature and environmentalism in general, and this guy was like,
look around you, it's so beautiful. The other day I went to this beach and there was this Mexican lady with her kid that was just letting the kid pee all over the place, and I was just like, this is why these people don't need...
Basically saying that what we should take away from looking at this beautiful scene that we were in was that we need to make sure that we don't have immigrants in the country. He made a big speech just being so racist. I remember sitting there looking at all the kids. We were on this beautiful beach and we were supposed to be writing in our journals and stuff, and everybody was listening to him like nodding their head like, yeah. And I remember just being like, what the hell? Like, hit me that everyone around me, these people that were supposed to be my friends, were okay with that. I did not have the same opportunity to have a good time on that extracurricular trip in high school. I think it's important to shed light on this kind of stuff because racism isn't just something that we need to teach our kids against. I'm seeing a lot of things on Facebook being like,
teachers, you need to teach your kids not to be racist and blah blah blah, teach your kids about black history.
We need to teach the teachers not to be racist. Because it's not just the kids. The kids didn't learn it by themselves. And it's not just the parents who are teaching their children. Teachers in schools have racist ideas and racist beliefs that they are putting onto their children. I have so many stories from my friends who are of color having encounters with some extremely blatant racism in high school and in middle school in Orange County. And I know that it's not specific to Orange County. That probably happens at every school. But yeah, that's messed up. It's not messed up. That's messed up. I've been thinking about that for years. I graduated high school 4 years ago. I think about that a lot. If you're a kid that grew up, if you're a black or brown kid that grew up in an all-white town, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You gotta know what I'm talking about. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Let me know I'm not crazy. Also, oh my god, I'm so all over the place, but I remember this one time I was walking home from my middle school and I was walking with my dad. And I actually talked to him about this the other day. He said that it happened multiple times. But we were walking down the street and this car goes by and this little white kid, like, I don't even remember if it was a kid or adult. It was probably a kid, but he like stuck his head out the window and he was like, "Beaner," because my dad's Mexican. He was like, "Beaner," and we're just like, love Orange County. Feel so welcome. I love Orange County. Also, all the Latinx kids in school would be Mexicans, right? All the dark people were black. All the Latinx kids were Mexican. Even if you weren't actually Mexican, if you looked a little bit Latina, then you were Mexican. If you're Guatemalan, nope, you're Mexican. If you're El Salvadorian, nope, you're Mexican. Kids in Orange County only know Mexican. The amount of times I heard,
"You're pretty for a black girl,"
or
Your hair looks so much better straightened. You should wear like that all the time.
or insert something racist / negative about black people or Mexican people, followed by,
"Oh, but not you. I like you. You're okay."
okay, but all my friends and family? Like, huh? I don't even know if I could perfectly wrap up my experience with racism in Orange County into one video because I still am kind of processing it and I don't know if I have the ability to verbalize everything. I didn't even realize that a lot of the things that I was experiencing was racism and was microaggressions. I didn't even know what the word microaggression meant until I went to college and I took Jay Tumazi's class at San Francisco State University, who was the best teacher I've ever had ever, who taught me so much specifically about microaggressions. Did I realize what I had been experiencing for the last 7 years of my life in Orange County, which is crazy. I mean, race and resistance studies should be a core class like math and science are in school, especially in elementary school, middle school, high school, all the schools. Race and resistance, just race relations, race studies in general should be core classes because these kids are not educated. I can tell you from first, I wasn't educated. I didn't know anything. These kids are not educated and that needs to be mandatory. Yeah, so basically not until I went to college, like 4 years ago, did I start embracing my skin color, embracing being black. San Francisco was just so diverse compared to Orange County. I remember when I moved there and I saw all the beautiful, beautiful black and brown people. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know that this was possible. I'd never felt more welcomed. I've never felt more beautiful. I had never felt more seen, recognized, heard, just like visible in my entire life. I just have so much appreciation for the friends that I made in college. Shout out to you, Ashley. Shout out to you, Mia, my friends that I met that really helped me start loving myself and loving my skin. Made me realize that I actually love being black. So moral of the story is, if you're black in Orange County, get out of there. I hate to say it, but get out of there. Why are you there? Go. Please. Just kidding. I know it's not possible for people to just pick up and leave. I had the privilege of leaving and going to college in San Francisco and then moving to Oregon with my family. But leaving Orange County was the absolute best thing that I could ever do for my mental health, the way I viewed myself. And even though I lived in a house with people who looked like me, I lived in a world with people who didn't look like me. I could see clearly how I was treated compared to my white friends, and I could hear clearly what my white friends said about people with darker skin. Not even just my white friends, just anyone. Even some of the things I said. The internalized racism was so present in my heart and just like in my mind. So yeah, this is just a conversation about internalized racism. I'm seeing a lot of conversation around just racism in general and like overt racism and subconscious racism, but I just wanted to start a conversation about internalized racism and the way that black and brown girls especially view themselves. I'm happy to say that I have a lot of friends now who are so committed to this movement and are educating themselves and educating others and just really being intentional in what they do at this time. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for my friends that I have now. So here's your call to action for this video. Breonna Taylor's murderers have still not been arrested. They've not been arrested. They've not been put in jail. They're probably, I mean, 99% of cops who kill don't get convicted, so But that's gonna change, right? That's gonna change. So please sign these petitions. As always, links in my description for petitions to sign, organizations to donate to. Don't worry, I'm gonna be making a lot more videos about dismantling the police and dismantling white supremacy coming up. If you have any questions, comment below. If you liked this video, like it. If you want to see more videos, subscribe, and keep going. Keep the pressure.